The Biden administration released a long-awaited report this afternoon saying that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey, to capture or kill Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Khashoggi, a Saudi citizen who worked for the Washington Post, was lured into the Saudi consulate in October of 2018, killed, and the U.S. intelligence report says he was dismembered by a team with close ties to the Crown Prince. His remains were never found. At first, the Saudi government denied he was murdered, then later said he was killed accidentally, before changing the story to say a rogue intelligence team killed him. 8 men were convicted in his killing and 5 were sentenced to death, but their sentences were later commuted to 20 years. And shortly after the intelligence report was made public today, the New York Times reported President Joe Biden would not directly penalize the Crown Prince because of what fears that might do to U.S. relations with Saudi Arabia. Well, Susie, this is just a disgusting, horrible, despicable incident. We knew this was going to be the outcome eventually, that it would be tied directly to Mohammed bin Salman. But essentially, he's getting away with murder of a fellow countryman and a journalist who worked for a U.S. publication.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so disappointing, right, for his family, who just is never going to see justice in this case. That's been clear all along. It's nice to see the administration at least acknowledge reality. This is a reality we were all clear was the case. There's no way this kind of thing would happen without the Crown Prince having blessed it. They wouldn't have just done a rogue operation. The Trump administration was just completely unwilling to acknowledge that reality. So it's good. I'm sure his family at least feels some gratification there, but it's really disappointing to see that there's just not going to be any consequences for this man who really put his life on the line for his work.
And I think, as we think about where this will go in the future, what kind of protections there will be for journalists working for U.S. outlets overseas, CBS News reporting, according to their sources, that the Biden administration is looking at a policy that could impose some, strict consequences for countries, not just Saudi Arabia, but other foreign governments, if they do go after, journalists working for U.S. publications. Now, we see what just happened, so it's unclear how will that actually play out. You can have the tough policy, but, how will it play out if, in fact, something does happen? But I'm at least feeling a little bit better that these conversations are being had and that there could be some policy put in place.
2 things. Please watch the documentary The Dissident by Brian Fogel. It really lays out all of the disgusting details, and I think if people think this is a small thing, they'll be dissuaded otherwise. Secondly, the Saudi government tracked Khashoggi and other journalists currently through a spyware called Pegasus. So what are we going to do, United States, about journalists being tracked by this spyware? This was the surveillance they used. So this is important for other journalists to understand that this is, I assume something like this would not happen again, but the kind of tactics that were used by the Saudi government are still in play.
I do think all in all, this is good news for the press in the sense that the fact that the government is following up is shining light on this. It suggests that they support journalists in doing their work, and it also suggests that the American press is affecting the foreign. Has a huge effect on what foreign governments do. That there's an importance to the work that's being done.
Yeah, well, it's disgusting, as we've all noted, and at least the Biden administration put the feet to the fire on this because, as we know, the Trump administration wasn't even going to make that connection. So at least we have that solid connection, and that is a good thing.